dollar. Tell you what I do, I put it in my pocket and walk away from you.
Yay! It's Laura Shepherd Joe. I'm so excited today. I have this stomp box right here because Mabel is going to play. This thing is fabulous. It makes noise when you stomp on it. And I get to sit here with my knees up like I'm shorter or taller or something. And hi, Bo. Bo's usually here for the show. Nice dog. We have Seal from Four Roses Bourbon, who's going to teach us a bit about bourbon. And we have Herman from First Florida Frontiers, who's going to teach us something about Florida. This is his artwork in the back, and you'll get a closer look at it later. Everybody ready to sing the song? Here we go. Something's going to happen and it could be good. Something's going to happen and it could be good. Something's going to happen and it could be good. Something's going to happen like we knew. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. 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 Something's gonna happen like we knew. Yeah, Lord. Oh yeah, you gotta aim high and go for your pie in the sky. Go ahead and trust yourself. Everything will right itself. Oh yeah, well life's a stream, so go ahead now, follow your dream. Jump in your boat and roll, roll, roll. Jump in your boat and roll, roll, roll. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew. Next, we're going to have Maybelle and the Dead Ringers come on up here and rock us out, I guess. We're going to do a little chitty chat and come on up and sit right here and chat with me for a minute, Mabel.
Well, all right, Laura
How are
Shepherd.
you?
Thank you for having me. What an honor to be here.
I love this box. Can you all see this box, this beautiful stomp box down here? It's a beautiful box. And when you stomp on it, it makes this beautiful noise. How are you?
I am fine and dandy, Miss Laura Shepherd. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm delighted to have you
You're looking
here.
lovely today, and I'm just glad to be here.
How are you? This is JP. How are you?
Hey, Laura, I'm great.
And
How are
this
you
is
doing?
Josh.
We got Josh over there. Well,
Yeah,
I'll get out
all
of your
the
way
Dead
here in a minute,
Ringers.
Josh, so you can get in the picture. Can you see Josh on the camera there? All right, we got Josh in there too.
Josh Minucci, my amazing bass player extraordinaire.
That is it. Now, how did you all get together?
Well, Josh and I met and started playing, and he plays in some other bands, but he has mercy on me. And then through the Bluegrass Jam community, I knew JP, and we just all three ended up hanging out and playing music, and it's working.
All right, we like that.
I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yay! All right, well, good. And Mabel, you're actually a school teacher, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's the secret side of Mabel that you
Yes,
don't need
ma'am.
to know. Where do you teach?
I teach at Sunset Hills Elementary School. I'm a resource teacher for
Tarpon Springs.
varying exceptionality. Shout out to my wonderful students.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I say we should let you go ahead and play a song for us.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna get out of the way and let you do this.
do
Do you want to get on? You want to get on this side, and we'll let you.
so maybe
I'm just
I
gonna
could
stand back here and drink.
Sure. And cross the box.
Uh-oh.
So I gotta catch that camera there.
Somebody's gotta catch that camera there. What's it doing?
You couldn't open the
Oh, here, yeah.
way up like that.
I don't even know if she's on. Oh,
She's going to get a different camera.
she's gonna get a big camera.
On Silas trading jet all night long. On Silas trading jet all night long. On Silas trading jet all night long. Crying, who shall he live for me? That old jailer like a jail all night long. That old jailer like a jail all night long. That old jailer like a jail all night long. Crying, who shall he live for me? On Silas Spring jail all night long. On Silas Spring jail all night long. On Silas Spring jail all night long. Crying, who shall he live for me? Lightning crash and the thunder roar all night long. Lightning crash and the thunder roar all night long. Lightning crash and the thunder roar all night long. Crying, who shall be living for me? On Silas trading jail all night long. On Silas trading jail all night long. On Silas trading jail all night long. Crying, who shall be living for me? That'll jailhouse feel the rock all night long. That'll jailhouse feel the rock all night long. That'll jailhouse feel the rock all night long. Crying, who shall be living for me? On Silas Stranger all night long. On Silas Stranger all night long. On Silas Stranger all night long. Crying, who shall be living for me? Crying, who shall be living for me?
Oh my goodness, that is so cute! You know, it's so fun to have you guys here. Now, what I want to know, JP, is what are you other than a fabulous guitar player?
Well, I'm a Leo, and
He's a Leo.
Yeah.
Are you single?
nope, I'm in a committed relationship
With some fabulous person, I
with
presume?
a fabulous girl. Yep,
Oh,
she's
yay.
wonderful.
Well, love is, I'm going to sing a love song later, just for you.
Excellent,
Okay.
thank you.
Good, that's good. I know you like the whole cowboy thing. Hey, you know, Mabel, I have this shirt that I thought you might like.
Sakes
I
alive!
don't
Lord
know.
Shepherd!
I don't know if it'll fit you, but this is my little gift for you because this is something I know about Mabel. She wants to go shopping in Nashville. That's what she wants to do.
Oh, girl.
I don't know if it's your size, but if it's not, you can maybe trade it in for
Lord
something
Shepherd,
else.
you just made my day. Not only do I have a thing for gingham and Western styling, but if you could see the little snaps, there's little cherries.
Aw. Cute. Aw.
Just
You're
sweet
gonna
as
see
you.
me rocking this all over the
Okay,
town,
well, there
girl.
you go.
Thank you so
I certainly
much.
hope it
Oh my
fits, you know.
goodness.
I'm not so good at sizing.
But you know what? I can make a lot of things work.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you so-
Well,
oh
like
my
I said,
gosh,
you can always.
thank you so
You're so
much.
welcome. I love giving stuff away.
Thank you for
It's like
giving me-
Ellen up here. On
I
this
have
Look under your chair. What's
I
up?
think
There's nothing under my chair.
I don't
I
know.
know they all give stuff away.
We'll share it.
We're gonna
We'll share it.
You guys can share it. Yeah,
We'll
JP,
share it.
I'm sorry I didn't
That's all right.
get you a
Hey,
particular.
that's all right. Next
It
time.
is. Now, how'd you come up with the name The Dead Ringers?
Well, so the Dead Ringers is a play on words because of the Maybell.
Ah.
And I am a huge fan and part of the, growing up in the Grateful Dead community. So I just wanted to have a band, Maybelle and the Dead Ringers, and I wanted to play some of that Garcia Grisman, what we call family grass music. And when I pitched the idea to them, they were like, all right, we'll be Dead Ringers. And JP is familiar with the Grateful Dead, but Josh said, okay, I'm in. Only I got to tell you one thing, I don't know anything about the Grateful Dead or their music. So by the end of this journey, Josh over there is going to be wearing tie-dyes.
He'll be selling them out of the back of his van.
Yeah.
All right, wait a minute now.
Stop it down,
Josh,
dude.
come on over here.
You need to get Josh.
John, get you in here in this. Josh,
Yeah.
what were you doing in Spain?
Drinking Four Roses.
Drinking 4 Roses. This is one of the funny things about this show. We always have these weird coincidences. And we have Seal from 4 Roses Bourbon here today. And she's going to word us up on some bourbon here in a minute. And when Josh got here, he said, 4 Roses Bourbon. That's what I drank when I was in Spain.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, way. We don't make this stuff up.
And we do roses because of the dead.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's awesome.
And what were you doing in Spain?
I was actually playing.
Oh, playing.
Yeah, this
Spain.
was back in the 90s.
Yeah, what were you with who?
I was at the time I was living in California. I played in a band out there that toured quite a bit, even in Europe. So I was over there playing in Madrid, and then I kind of got lost and wound up with some Basque folks up in the Basque country there for
Well,
a
that's
bit.
lost.
And I missed a bunch of dates that I
dear.
was supposed to do because I got done with that engagement. And I was supposed to fly to Austin, and you know, like many things, there was a girl involved, and I wound up hanging out in Spain a little bit too long, and so I got in a little bit of trouble.
Sounds like a Guy Clark song.
I know, it sounds like a song. I don't know, okay. Give us another song, because that's an intro to a song. I don't know if it's an intro to the next song, but it's an intro to a song for sure. Let me get out of your way.
Well, I think I'll do an original, Laura.
Oh, good. Do an original. That's what we like.
That's it.
Is that the Startone
Sorry.
song?
Can you come in where you
Moment came, I didn't know what to say. I only waited for this 2,197 days. Sign said you're not at home when you can't talk to a person who is never alone.
how did you write the song? What inspired you?
It was I won't get too into it, but it was inspired by an experience I had at the Spirit Wanting Music Park at Roots Revival ultimately.
Oh, you know what? I think a lot of songs are written inspired by music
inspiration.
festivals. That's kind of what I understand. Oh my goodness, how do you usually write your songs?
Well, this one was a funny one because normally I kind of write words and melody together, but I lost my voice and I couldn't sing. So all I could do was write the words for about 4 days, and finally when my voice came back, I knew exactly what I wanted to do because I had worked on the words for so long because I couldn't get the song out. So,
But when you were writing the song, were you kind of singing it inside your head?
Yes.
Yeah. They say that you can practice playing the piano inside your head and actually get better. You don't actually have to do it. Have you read those studies?
No, but I've experienced it.
Yeah.
Thinking about, certain fingerings on a song, and then I'll pick up the guitar after taking a break, and bam, it comes
And you
out.
can do it. Well, that's what they said. They took this study, although I just read another study recently that said that studies are hard. They can't replicate these studies, all these famous studies that we're all quoting. When they try and replicate them, they can't get them replicated. But anyways, the study went that they took, 10 people that didn't know how to play piano, and they made 5 of them practice an actual piano, an hour a day, and then the other 5 just thought about playing the piano, and they were both able to play pretty much equally as well.
Wow.
So there you go. So that was it. You were writing the song in your head the whole time. You didn't even know it. Oh my goodness. Do you write songs, JP?
No,
No.
I stick to bluegrass songs, traditional.
Okay. And how do you feel about playing non-traditional bluegrass?
I like it. It breaks me out of my box a little bit.
Okay,
So
good.
it's fun.
Good.
Yeah.
How about you, Jason? Do you write songs? Josh, excuse me.
I do, yeah. Nothing I presented to Maple were not really cool on the box side, so I have a band and I usually funnel those through.
Josh is also the bass player for Gen U 6 and the Old Souls.
Gen U 6?
Gen U 6. Yeah. He's a great singer-songwriter, also country musician, and that's another great band.
Well, there you go. There's
Yeah, I'm lucky Josh moonlights with us.
I know. Josh, what made you decide Mabel and the Dead Ringers was for you?
So, traditionally I've always played with the drummer, and I took a break from playing music. I did it for a living for a long time, and so I came down here when I started about 4 years ago, and kind of fell into a real traditional country band. I was playing with those guys, and I really like original music. I don't like to play covers a whole lot. Anyway, with that band, I started thinking, I have 2 teenage boys. They don't really want anything to do with me anymore. They're kind of having their own lives, and I'm sitting around with nothing to do. So I started playing a little bit more, and anyway, I had the opportunity to play without a drummer, and I really enjoyed it. So I just started looking around for people who were playing around that weren't playing with drummers. And Mabel lives, I live in Tarpon Springs, and she's down in Dunedin. So I just kind of reached out to her and said, hey, you want to do some playing? And that's kind of...
It's like a match made in heaven.
So.
It's
Oh my goodness.
definitely a match made in heaven, and JP too. I'm a lucky lady.
You are lucky. We are the lucky ones. I say,
Yeah.
we are the lucky ones. Really, today. Sunshine. Okay, you know what I think we should do? I think we should get Seal up here from Four Roses Bourbon.
Right on.
You take it down there. We're gonna let you sit down because I think Seal is going to.
Alright.
You're gonna
Thank
sit
you.
here. No, we need you to sit
Oh,
there
I'm gonna
because
sit.
you guys. She's gonna.
Oh,
You're gonna taste.
I'm the
You guys are the
Bourbon samplers.
You are the bourbon
Bourbon
sampler.
Dude.
My lucky day.
Let's JP.
So here, want to sit? No, everybody.
Come on, Josh. Come on.
You're Josh. You're there in
Come
the
on, get
chair.
in here.
All right, here I go.
Let's see.
Cozy too.
We're all gonna be cozy. I'm gonna cozy up right
Yeah,
here in front of my
let's get
friends.
cozy.
Hi.
I feel like I'm teaching school or something.
You are teaching school. You're the professor.
Adult
Now-
school.
This is what I was
This
gonna
is
say.
cereal for
Here.
breakfast, dude.
Yeah.
Come on. Liquid
Yeah.
cereal.
There you go.
Cereal. Yeah, it's corn
Yes.
and wheat and rye, you know,
You
cereal
like
for
it.
breakfast.
Well, the nice thing is that we met in Gulfport
Absolutely. Yeah.
at a dinner, and it was actually a miracle because it was, what do they call that?
Well, in downtown St. Pete, they call it the longest table, but I think it's chef's table here,
Chef's
maybe.
table,
Yeah.
so where they
It's a fabulous event.
a fabulous event. And I had ridden down on my bicycle, and I didn't even know what was happening. And I said, I need to be here. I should be here. I swear, I should be here. But I didn't have a ticket, and there weren't any tickets to be had. But I knew I needed to be at that table. But anyways, I rode my little bicycle home, and I laid down, and I got this phone call, and it was my friend Misty, and she said, what are you doing? And I said, well, really nothing. And she said, can you be downtown like right away? And I was like, well, why? She said, well, because my parents had these tickets, and somebody's not coming, and I said, yes, and I jumped off on the bicycle and rode down, and it was a little miracle. I love little miracles, they happen all the time. And a seal was sitting next to me,
Right.
and we got to chatting, and I said, of course, what do you do? And she told me that she was a bourbon lady.
I drink for a living, and I get paid to do it.
Yes, she drinks for a
Pretty
living.
much.
And so I asked her if she wanted to be on the show, and she said yes, that she did. So that's what she's doing here.
Absolutely.
So word us up a little bit about
Okay,
bourbon.
how many bourbon drinkers? We know here.
Oh,
This is good. I like this.
I'm
Bourbon
from
drinkers.
Kentucky originally.
Okay, then you must know Four Roses Bourbon. It's been around for 130 years. So we're the oldest bourbon house and one of the oldest in Kentucky. So I've been in the liquor business for 37 years. I don't know how my liver has survived, but it's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. So we're pretty excited about the resurgence of bourbon because 10 years ago, nobody was drinking bourbon unless you lived in Europe or you're drinking old granddad like your dad did, or it was not where it is today. Now we can't keep it in stock, and we're one of the oldest bourbon houses, and we have stockpiles of it because, as Josh said, he was drinking it in Europe, and you couldn't find Four Roses here in the United States. We were making it here, but everything was going to the overseas market. So if you know history about liquor, and this is kind of cool, prior to Prohibition, there were about 400 distilleries in Kentucky. After Prohibition, there were 6. We were one of them because we had a medicinal license. So my grandparents would tell me the story. I'm from New England, and I'm going to try to tone my New England accent down a little bit. But my grandparents would tell me the story. Sunday after church, the doctor would be sitting in the parking lot. And he'd come out of church, and he'd said to my grandfather, his name was Dave. He said, Dave, how you feeling today? I got a wicked shoulder ache, whatever. He'd get a script for a pint of bourbon. Doctor would hand him the script. He'd go to the pharmacy, and it's a true story. Go to the pharmacy, and he'd get his script. The next Sunday, my grandmother's name was Elizabeth, and she said, the doctor would say, Elizabeth, how you feeling? She said, I have the vapors. Now, I don't know what the heck the vapors were. Whatever the vapors were, she had them every 12 days. So she got her pint of bourbon every 12
I thought
days.
that was every 30 days.
No,
Oh, that's
whatever
different.
it was,
Okay,
whatever the vapors were in her mind, she got it every 12 days. So what is it? I thought you asked me what it was. I have no clue, but whatever it was. So there was always bourbon in my grandparents' house during Prohibition because they were able to go to the doctor and get the script, and there's a lot of pharmacy licenses now that still legally sell alcohol as a prescription. Like if you're in the hospital, and I won't go into details, but your doctor can actually legally prescribe you beer, and you can go and get
Like all over, or just in certain states?
no, all over. It's pharmaceutical. Yeah, it's amazing, but people don't know about it. So, as my husband said, it was the medical marijuana of its day. So we're hoping. But anyways, we won't go there. So we're pretty excited about Four Roses again. We make 3 different types of expressions. I brought our small batch to taste, but if anybody knows how bourbon is made, we use bourbon has to be 51% corn by law, a minimum. It has to be aged 2.5 years in New American oak. Does not have to come from Kentucky. It has to come from the U.S. Yes, bourbon law. Yes, it was passed by President Truman. And there's a couple of other laws in there about percentage of alcohol, but those are the 3 main things. So we have. Has anybody been to a distillery or a brewery to see how beer or anything? Okay, so we use mash bills. So we're really mixing up a recipe of yeast and corn and rye and things like that. So we have 2 mash bills, and one of our mash bills has a little higher rye, so it's a little sweeter. And we have 5 yeast strains, so we make 10 different bourbons. And the bourbon you were drinking in the UK, in Europe, was our regular, what we used to call Yellow Label. It's our original. And I did a tasting on Friday, and I apologize, this is the only bottle I had left from the tasting, so I grabbed it before I ran out the door, because I wanted to make sure we tasted something this morning.
We've got to taste something.
Yeah, so that's our regular entry level, and then our small batch was in this teardrop bottle is 4 of the 10, and this is at 90 proof. And then we make 100 proof single barrel. So why don't we taste a little bit, and everybody ready to taste?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
okay, cool, all right. This is where my cups
Okay,
go.
let me get your cups for you.
Great.
Over here. We got
So-
some cups.
You know, I always like to open things up for questions and answers. Anybody have any questions about bourbon or how bourbon's made or anything about Kentucky? Or you can probably tell me more, you know more about Kentucky.
What's the difference between the way like bourbon is made and the way beer is made, or the way wine is made? Is it just what goes in it?
Well, yeah, I mean, wine, it's grapes, of
but
course.
they put it in barrels.
Right, they put it in barrels to age, absolutely. So we make ours with wheat and corn and rye, and they put it in barrels to age. We char the barrels. Yeah, they'll pass them here. We char the barrels, and we use these rick rooms.
Rick room?
Rick rooms. So they're one-story open warehouses, not air conditioned. So you know when you talk
Does
about the
anybody
age,
out in the audience want one? Okay,
Sure.
1, 2,
In
a
In the
couple
back,
out
I
there.
think they
so
go in the back.
we age.
Pass it back or
We
come get it.
age,
There you
yeah,
go.
we age for a minimum 2.5 years, and we age, you normally don't see age statements on bourbon as you might do on whiskey or rum. So this is probably average age in this bottle about 7 years.
We also have a question from
Okay, question
Yes.
from
Yes.
Facebook.
Kelly. Would like to know where she can get this bourbon in Gulfport.
In Gulfport, well, if she wants to go have cocktails, she can go to Pia's. And she can go to Publix liquor store. She can go to Winn-Dixie liquor store. Let me see what else. Most of the liquor stores will have the bourbon. Price point wise, I'm sure that's going to be a next question. The small batch that we're drinking now is going to be anywhere from 29 to. Oh, I get to drink out of the bottle.
Yes, oh, so,
What about me?
yeah.
Thank you. So this is going to be around $29 to $34 a bottle. Our single barrel is going to run anywhere from $39 to $44, and our regular original is going to run around $20. Great for cocktails, great for cooking. Salute, happy Sunday.
Okay, now when we taste bourbon, is it like wine? Are you supposed to swoosh it around? Or how is
Unfortunately, these cups are not the best to taste in. Traditionally, you would have a glass snifter, and you have this little glass, it almost looks like a clear disc. And you put it over the top of it, and you stir it, and then you just move your finger over, and you smell it very slowly. These cups aren't the best.
No.
So when I tell people to taste something, close your eyes and don't think, like open your mind up. Don't think, oh my God, it has to taste like this, it has to taste like that, because some of us smoke, some of us take medicine, our palates are all over the place. But traditionally, this one there's gonna be a little bit of spice in it. Second taste is gonna be better. First thing in the morning, we probably have toothpaste and lots of other stuff going on. And it's at 90 proof.
Cheers.
That's good bourbon. What do you think? So you're the other
I
bourbon.
think I need another.
Oh, sure, it's right there. There you go. Have at it. Have at it. Again, the
Josh
other
is
two.
an expert for roses.
Four
bourbon
Roses.
drinker.
I mean, I love this. Are you still drinking it now in the States?
Yes, no.
Don't tell me you can't afford it, because it's not that expensive.
No, I don't drink a lot.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I have a bottle of. I'm trying to think what I have in that. I know I have a bottle of Johnny Walker Black in there somewhere, and I think.
Okay, with Scotch.
Yeah.
Yeah, delicious.
And what's the difference between Scotch and bourbon?
Scotch it's all from Scotland, all of it.
So, but I
And
mean, is
they-
it made out of different things?
They'll use more weeded grains, and they age in old barrels. So we sell our barrels to the whiskey house, to the Scotch houses. So our barrels are brand new. And once we pour off the barrel, we dump the barrel, it gets sold off either to a brewery or to a Scotch house. And they age in the
And whiskey, what's the difference with that?
So whiskey is, all bourbons are whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbons. Just remember, we have to be at least 51% corn and 2.5 years. Now you're gonna see some bourbon out there that just ours, what you wanna drink is straight bourbon. That adheres to the whiskey law, to the bourbon law. You don't wanna just drink bourbon because they chip it. Go ahead. Oh, no, that's fine. No. Question? No.
It's neat. When you just drink bourbon, is that what you call it? Neat?
Yes, neat is no ice.
Any liquor neat is
any
no
liquor,
ice.
yeah, is neat.
Now, is an old fashioned okay, or just?
Yeah, why not? You know,
This is so delicious. This would make the best old fashioned.
It's actually
does
better
make-
than I thought it would be.
It does make the best stuff. So
It goes down pretty smooth.
does anybody know, and I probably shouldn't be promoting anything, but Garden and Gun Magazine, anybody know Garden and Gun Magazine? It sounds terrible. But it's
Something for her and something for him.
Exactly right. So, you know what it is? It's a magazine for so anyways, but
What?
I think
affluent,
affluent.
affluent. It's a magazine about the Southern culture, is what it is, and it's a beautifully written magazine. There's great articles in it, and when they talk about gardens, they're talking about beautiful, gardens of the South that are manicured and guns or Winchesters and things like that. But they did an article about the resurgence of bourbon, and they talked about the king, the queen, the prince, and the princess. Four Roses was in there, Pappy was in there, a number of the very high-end bourbons. We're considered the princess of the bourbons just for this reason. It does not burn.
No,
You
it
do
doesn't.
not want a bourbon that burns.
No.
And women love this. That's the biggest challenge we've had. Brown goods, whether it's Scotch or whiskey or Canadian whiskey or any of the brown goods, women don't traditionally like them because they burn. And I was weaned on Scotch. Drinking age was 18. My father was a Scotch drinker, so that's what I learned to drink. And it's a very acquired taste. And when Four Roses came to me about 12 years ago to ask me to manage the brand for them, I'm like, oh, okay, I have to really get into this. And when I tasted these, I'm like, this is good. And they're fabulous to cook with. So if anyone loves to cook, you can make wonderful salmon. I soak cedar. Did you have a question? Yes, ma'am.
They also would like to know from the internet world if they could buy it in Virginia.
Yes, where we have 100% distribution all over the country. So Virginia, they have to go to the state liquor store. It's a state controlled there.
Okay.
So they'll be able to find it on Restaurant Back in the restaurants, and then they have to go to the state stores to purchase
All right,
it.
tell us a quick salmon recipe, and then we're gonna have to
Okay.
move
Quick salmon.
on.
All right,
oh my goodness, we could spend hours talking
Yes,
about
that's
this.
what I said.
We got a whole bottle
10
here.
minutes or an hour. Quick salmon recipe. So nice. Get a good salmon piece of salmon. I like to use a fillet, and I make bourbon and honey, and I try to use local honey all the time, and soy and some green onion, and marinate it, and then take the cedar planks, which I actually purchase at one of the big home improvement stores. I buy the untreated cedar there because it's a lot less expensive than those planks. And you soak that in water, and I grind up some fresh pepper and some bourbon and just let it sit for about a half an hour. And then put the salmon on the cedar, and then I smoke it.
So
on a
wait.
low fire.
The cedar has been marinating in the bourbon and honey
Yes.
mixture, and the plank just sits in water.
No, the plank sits in water and bourbon.
And bourbon. Okay.
And bourbon. And it's absolutely delicious.
Well, there you go.
And it's a great recipe. Great recipe.
All right.
Thank
Wow.
you so much.
Thank
you
you for
it was
coming.
it was really cool that we got to sit next to each other.
I know,
Yeah.
isn't that funny
Yeah.
how you just meet
Yeah.
people? And the funny part is there's a Four
Yes.
Roses bourbon
Yeah, it's
drinker
great.
on set.
Yes.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest
Well,
of your Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, cheers.
Now we're gonna move on with our show here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Laura Shepherd.
Here, this is for you. You take this with you.
Thank you, my dear.
I hope that fits you. Anyways, it fits you in spirit anyways.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna
I'll
run.
wear that shit.
I'm gonna run.
All right. We got Sean in the back who says he'll wear it if you don't, but he might have to wear it on his leg. I don't know. All right, I'm going to sing a little song. And this is the time for you all out there to think of some good news, all right? You all think of some good news because I'm going to ask you here in a minute. This is a love song that I wrote for my godmother. My godmother was an undercover agent for the CIA, and she worked in Afghanistan and in Japan. And she said she learned in Afghanistan that you could take a bath in a tray of melted ice cubes because, because the power would go out and it'd be hot and there'd be no water. And she'd get the tray of melted ice cubes out and wash with it. I don't know how much of a bath you can use, but anyways. All right, you all. We have got a rowdy audience today. I don't know. What is with our rowdy audience?
Drinking bourbon.
Somebody
you.
do something to this
We can really
rowdy
hear you.
audience. They're out of control back there. I'm going to sing a love song. Y'all, you can be in love, but do it quietly. My goodness. That's what you do when you invite crazy musicians and bourbon ladies over. Next thing you know, the audience is getting rowdy. We could fly you in an airplane. Now he could darn a great big hole in your socks. Wrap his arms around you one night. Like a nice shot of bourbon. It's love at first sight over a low fence, around the same old corner I'd known all my life. He cast a line towards me, changed my life. He changed my life. Well, he is an angel, both day and night. Now see, that's him in the foreground with the white. Turn straight towards me. There's this clear blue smile. Ooh, clear blue smile. My love, my love, my love, my love, my love, my love. My love has grown, flown and flown and flown to a permanent home. I'm going to cut that song short. That was for you. For you and your beautiful wife. I hope you all like it. I am looking at our time, and we are running out of time. We've got to get Herman up here. Herman, you coming up here?
Okay.
Come on up here. Sit down right here. Like time just runs away from you when you're drinking bourbon.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
Herman, thank you for coming. Herman, how you been feeling today?
Well, Herman's an asthmatic, so
Herman's an
he breathes a
asthmatic.
lot, so sorry about that.
So that's all right. You know, it's like it just goes to show. You
That's
can be
right.
an asthmatic and.
Right, right.
Asthmatic and. All you asthmatics out there. These are Herman's paintings here behind me. If you want to pull one of them out or tell us a little something, word us up, Herman. You are so knowledgeable. He's so knowledgeable. He's with First Florida Frontiers, and he knows about listening to Herman speak on Indians is amazing. But I think that we're going to talk about geology, are we?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Florida history.
Okay, Florida history. Let's
Okay.
get. We got 10
Are
minutes.
y'all ready
of
for this?
10 minutes of Florida
Okay,
history. You
okay,
ready?
Florida. Hey, let me start off like my wife was going to want me to do an advertisement there.
Okay, we
For
advertise it.
Florida Frontiers, we celebrate Florida history. That's it. All right, takes care of that.
Florida Frontiers. You all look it up if you're
That's right.
interested in Florida history. It's amazing.
Already have.
When
Already have. Good.
I was 9 years old, I grew up in South St. Petersburg, down by Bartlett Park, and they were just putting in 1954. They were just putting the road to the Skyway through. 34th stopped at 22nd, and so they were grinding all that land up. And me and a bunch of kids went down there. We were really pretty excited about finding piles of dirt. You know, in Florida, everything's flat, so finding a pile of dirt is a really important thing. And so we found
where they were digging these ditches, the drainage ditches that would drain 34th Street now. And the first thing we wanted to do was get into dirt clod wars. Now, dirt clod wars, you pick up a lump of dirt and you throw it at your friend, and of course it explodes all over him. And that's great, it's fun until somebody gets some sand in his eye, right? And then it's
all good until you lose an eye.
one of the kids always had a perfectly fresh Kleenex, right? Ready to go, right? And so you everybody stop, pick the sand out of the eye, then start again. Go back and do your dirt clod wars. Well, I picked this up, and I was going to slam a kid with that, and I looked at it, and it didn't look like a dirt clod. The more I dusted it off, the more it looked like a piece of something I'd seen on my dinner plate. It looked like bone, right? And so I took it home and I showed my parents. I was really very, very excited. I said, "Hey, look at this!" I
She's a
said,
little closer to us so she likes it.
"Okay,
Oh my goodness, look at this sucker.
yeah."
My
And I
hand is
said,
hurting.
"Wow, look at this! I found dinosaur bones."
Dinosaur bone.
Yeah, dinosaur bones. And my parents said, "Hey, look, kid, don't bring home garbage." And they took it and they threw it out in the flower garden. And of course, I was 9 years old. What does a 9-year-old do, right? Go out and get it. So I got it, and I drug it around for years after years after year. And what's kind of neat about this is it started me looking at what the heck is going on here. Where is this from? What is this all about? And I lost it. Somebody got a hold of it. See, I've had a bunch of divorces and stuff, and you know how things happen in your life, they just disappear. And so it left. And I guess it was about 4 years ago, somebody came up to me and they said, "We think this is yours." And I was stunned. I said, "It is. I found that." I knew exactly where I found it. And I looked at it and I knew exactly what it was. Right? I'd studied enough to where I could identify it. And it's a mammoth's toe bone.
A mammoth's toe bone.
Yeah, this is a mammoth's toe bone, just found right over here, not very far away. And the funny thing about it is everything was wrong with it, right? I mean, it's a mammoth's toe bone, but there's something else going on. The whole top of the toe bone has been broken off, and then the sides are all ground out. So I took it to a friend of mine up in Tallahassee, and he said, "Yeah, you're right. This is actually a tool that a woman would have used some 13,000 years ago in this area. Her husband would have killed a mammoth, and she had rights, okay? And she had rights to take something off of that mammoth that she could use personally, carry with her." Now you want to remember, 13,000 years ago, what these people were like. I mean, they were mobile, constantly mobile. So everything you owned, you carried everywhere you went. And that's what she did. She took this thing and she carried this with her until somehow it got lost. Between her and it, something happened. But that's kind of a neat thing. But what it started me on is a journey. And I think that's what's more important. When we think about where we are in Florida, Florida, come on, what is it? Flat. There's hardly any geography to it. It's basically a beach. And out there, the Gulf of Mexico, what's really weird about it? Nobody talks about it. What is that out there, the Gulf of Mexico? How did that happen? And how did Florida happen? Florida hangs off of the rest of the United States. So, we all right?
We're good.
All right.
Carry on. This is amazing. Okay, we got that's good. This is amazing.
So
we got
Florida.
2 more minutes or so.
That's right. Two more minutes. Real quickly.
No, 5 or 7.
Oh, 5. Okay. Real quickly, Florida was created in the collision of continents when Pangaea, the Great Continent, broke up. Florida was actually below the equator, and it began to move up. And when it broke apart from the Gulf of Mexico. That's what the Gulf of Mexico is. It's the point at which the Great Continent and the world that you know, when you spin that globe, the world that you know, that you see on that globe, came out of the Gulf of Mexico, basically. Because all of the continents were very different in those days. And when it broke up in the Gulf of Mexico, Africa splits off of North America and Florida. Actually, all of Florida geology is African. We don't know of any geology in Florida. That's deep geology. That's not African. So all of it's African. So Africa moves away. Eurasia moves away. All of this happens from one location. And that's
from right here, like we're at the center
we're
of the
here.
universe.
We're here.
Oh, that's
You know,
amazing.
that's
we're
really
the
kind of
mother of all continents.
that's really kind of incredible. But that wasn't the end of it. Just over the horizon was the Yucatan Peninsula. By the way, the Yucatan Peninsula was where the Gulf of Mexico is now. And it just kind of ripped off of the bottom of North America and ends up in the Yucatan Peninsula. 65 million years ago, it gets clobbered by a 10-mile wide asteroid, right? Wipes out the dinosaurs. Everybody knows that story. But what it would have wiped out is Florida. Any remnants that Florida had above the waves. By that time, Florida was so fractured that it was made out of 5 major pieces of geology. But when Chicxulub happened, when that asteroid hit in the Yucatan, the energy from that would have wiped out anything above water that was Florida. It simply would have been gone. And it was a really crummy day for everybody because so much material was thrown into outer space and then falls back again. And as it falls back, it remelts and turns into glass beads. So it would have been a kind of a warm glass bead rain. And that would have made everybody that was living in this area feel crummy, but there wasn't anybody really living in here after that blast. So after that, Florida gets hit again, but this time it's from up north in Virginia, and Virginia gets hit. And the tsunami that rolled across Florida was 200 feet tall. It just swept over the state. Now you hear about global warming. People talk about global warming, right? Well, guess what? Florida's been underwater 4 times. There's a spine of Florida that still stays out, but anything south of Okeechobee gone, simply underwater. So Florida's been underwater in the last 2.5 million years. It's been underwater 4 times. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
There it is.
stuff happens.
Well, tell
Get
us-
ready for the beach.
Give us a minute
All right,
about these paintings.
real quickly.
We wanna hear
Our
about your
people,
paintings.
are called the Tocobaga people. The Indians that lived here were called the Tocobaga people.
Let's look at this side.
Yeah, and
There we
here,
go.
they were a mound-building culture, a Mississippian culture. They spoke a Tunica language.
Now, Herman makes these paintings. He paints them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're letting people know that. He didn't just
Okay.
get it out of a book. He painted that thing.
Oh no. And actually, what I do is I study with a lot of archaeologists and anthropologists and people like that. And then what I try to figure out is what did these people really live like? The archaeologists, they don't find very much. This is a wood-based culture. They're building everything out of wood. Well, what happens when they disappear? Wood rots away, it's gone, see? So the whole coast, our whole coast is dotted with mounds. But we say, well, there were 2,000 people here. No. The number of population is based on your food resource. That's how it works. And human beings generally populate about a third over. And these people, I don't think they did that. I don't think they overpopulated too much. They were really pretty heavy into the environment and how it worked. So my guess is that for Florida, it was about between 2 and 4 million people that were living in Florida. That's a big population for that time, okay? These are some kids playing, and if you notice, there's a ceremony going on in the background. What's really kind of neat is if you've ever worked with the Seminoles, you find that the adults will do ceremonies, the kids will play, and nobody says, hey, stop that. Don't do that. Don't
Yeah,
do
like
that.
we do here.
Yeah.
Be quiet back there in the back.
That's right. But the thing is, with them, what they realize is children are children, and children do what children do. And so adults do what adults do. And Native Americans were very heavy into that. Anyway, this was like a Mayan civilization. This would have been very, very, very sophisticated kind of civilization.
Tell us a little bit about this one. We
All
got
right.
2 minutes here.
Real quickly, we got 2 minutes. Got to get this done.
Really?
All right. Now, what this is this is a catamaran. There is evidence. They actually found evidence of a catamaran. They call it a toy. What the Native Americans did is they made objects that weren't for worship, but they were gifts. Okay, they were gifts to the Great Mystery or something. These were all seafaring peoples. Out on Tampa Bay at any time, you would have seen thousands of dugout canoes. Right? Everybody had them. Women had them. Traders had them. By the way, these are big traders. They're moving all over the United States. Lots of stuff from the Yucatan Peninsula, a lot of stuff from Mexico, found in Florida, all the way up the Mississippi River, found in Florida. These aren't what we want to make them. These aren't primitive people, but these were the people that we first met when we came here. And so, what else can I tell you? The Tocobaga, that's the name of our people that lived here.
All right. Well, gosh, Herman, thank you. You know, Herman, you're so fascinating. We could listen to Herman for hours. But Herman, when is the next time you're going to be somewhere where people can listen to you?
Actually, because I'm really asthmatic, I don't get out much.
Oh,
And I thank you.
coming.
I thank you for doing this, because I used to be able to get out and talk to people about it, but I don't get out very much any longer.
Okay.
And I was out yesterday, and I did a program. I did a program. I'm about halfway through. I started not doing good.
Oh dear.
Gosh.
Okay.
But
Well,
anyway, thank you all for
first-
being real patient with us. This is kind of a different viewpoint of Florida. But Florida, this place that you live in, is probably one of the most incredible pieces of geography on the planet Earth. And it's hard to understand because you don't see it. It's all hidden underneath of us. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yay! Thank you. Yay! You win the same. Yay!
All right, there we go.
Thank you for having come to
We
join
did
us.
it. We did it.
All right. Now, is that Trina? Is there anybody out there that has good news that they want to share with us?
Kelly would like to give Herman a gift for his breathing tincture.
Okay. Okay. One of our fans, Kelly, is an herbalist. And so she's gonna we don't know how she's gonna do that, but she'll get it to you.
now.
Yeah, she's gonna give you a tincture. She makes them
Wow.
herself. So like it's all a big gift. We love to give. Does anybody else out there have any good news that they want to report to the audience?
Oh, I have some good news.
Okay, what's your good news? Let's hear your good news.
I saw a photograph of I don't know how accurate it was. So it was in Australia. They put mesh bags at the end of drainage pipes from the cities to stop plastics and garbage from flowing into the ocean.
Yay! The mesh bag. Okay, anybody else out there have something they want to share?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
You must
She's
have
good,
some
yeah.
whiskey.
She has
Tell
good
me
news.
some
She's
bourbon.
got good drink. Okay, I got something I want to give to Seal because she was so nice to come, and this is one of my CDs. This is a gift for you.
So much.
All right, now we got to get the Dead Ringers back up here to do another little something.
Thank you.
Some good news. So I'll tell you what the good news is. The Dead Ringers are going to give us another little song. Yay! We love them. So exciting. How fun.
Wow, that worked.
I'm so glad it fit you. I had no idea. Yes, perfect.
Goodness.
All right. Come on, kids. Get on up here. Get out of the way.
Do you sell your pages?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Herman, where
See,
can we get
mostly
them?
My work goes into museums.
Oh, okay. Mostly his work goes into museums, but we can get in touch with his lovely Elizabeth, and she will find out about. You can find out about it. All right.
Yeah.
Yay.
What do you want to do?
We'll do dark hollow.
See you at the end.
I'd rather be in some dark holler where the sun don't ever shine than to be here alone, just knowing that you're gone would cause me to lose my mind. So blow your whistle, freight train, blow it far on down the train. I'm going away, I'm leaving today. I'm a going, but I ain't coming back. I'd rather be in some dark holler where the sun don't ever shine than to be here alone in some big
city in a small room with you on my mind. So blow your whistle, freight train, blow it far on down the track. I'm going away, I'm leaving today. I'm going, but I ain't coming back. I'm going away, I'm leaving today. I'm going, but I ain't coming back.
Woo! Alright, you know what we're gonna do. We're all gonna play a song together. It's an A.
Okay,
Alright.
let's do it.
Okay, this is the song that we're gonna end this show with. I want to thank you, Seal, for coming. I want to thank you, Herman, for coming and talking to us. Like I say, we could have listened to Herman for 3 hours. We could have listened to Mabel and Dead Ringers for 3 hours.
We got 3
too.
more hours.
And we
If
could have
y'all wanna
spent
stay.
3 hours drinking with bourbon
Yeah,
and
3
learning
hours
about
and a
it.
bottle of
So
bourbon.
it's like-
Let's do it. 3 hours.
That's what she plans on doing later. Somehow the rest of that bottle of bourbon might end up in your hands. I don't know. That's, all right, so what we're going to sing here is our closing song, and thank you all. If you want to support the Laura Shepherd Show, please go to patreon.com, the Laura Shepherd Show, and toss us a little something. We'd appreciate that. Where are you playing next?
Oh, well, we're opening up for apple butter at a private event in December, and we'll be at the Silver King. We're at the Silver King Brewery every Tuesday evening in Tarpon Springs. We play every Tuesday. Come on down and see us. Have a beer. We play early.
I love your little stomp box.
Because
If I was on that, I'd be too tall, but you're just right time. Okay, are we ready?
At my tiny stage.
Yes, we're